This is the 2014 FRQ number 1. The problem reads, grass clippings are placed in a bin where they decompose. For the interval 0 to 30, the amount of grass clippings remaining in the bin is modeled by A of t equaling 6.687 times 0.931 to the t, where A of t is measured in pounds and t is measured in days.
Part A. Find the average rate of change of A of t over the interval. Indicate units of measure. To find the average rate of change, we use the formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, A of 30 minus A of 0 over 30 minus 0. Plugging everything in gets you 6.687 times 0.931 to the 30 minus 6.687 times 0.931 to the 0 over 30. Now you can stop here and box this answer as long as you remember to put the units, pounds of grass clippings per day. To solve this part with your calculator, first enter the equation A of t equals 6.687 times 0.931 to the t into y1 equals and graph it. Next, zoom out once to be able to see the graph on the entire interval. Hit trace and enter 30 to see the value of A at 30. Then hit trace and enter 0 to see the value of A at 0. Finally, plug these values into the equation to find the average rate of change and calculate the answer. If we keep going, we can use our calculator to get negative 5.904 over 30, which equals negative 0.197 pounds of grass clippings per day. This part is worth 1 point. To get the full point, you must have the answer with units.
Part B of this question asks, find the value of A prime of 15. Using correct units, interpret the meaning of the value in the context of the problem. For Part B, students should use their calculator. You already have A of t entered into your y1, so first hit second and then trace, or calc, and then choose the dy dx option and enter 15 for x to get A prime of x. Write this value down as equal to A prime of 15. The question also asks you to interpret the meaning of the value in the context of the problem. The correct interpretation would be that 0.614 pounds per day is the rate at which the grass clippings are decreasing at t equals 15 days. College Board gave 1 point for finding the value of A prime of 15 and 1 point for a correct interpretation of the value.
C of this FRQ reads, find the time t for which the amount of grass clippings in the bin is equal to the average amount of grass clippings in the bin over the interval 0 to 30. The objective of Part C is to use the average value formula to find time t when the amount of grass clippings is equal to the average. The formula for this problem is A of t is equal to 1 over 30 minus 0 multiplied by the integral from 0 to 30 of A of t with respect to t. In your calculator, make sure the equation is entered into y1, then go to Math and down to 9, the integral. Plug in 0 and 30 as A and B, y1 as A of t, with respect to x. Take this value to multiply it by 1 over 30 to find the average, then store it in your calculator, in this case as A. Set this value rounded to 3 decimal places equal to the equation and solve for t using logs. To make it easier on yourself and more accurate, use the stored value when plugging the log solution into your calculator to get the final answer. In this problem, you get 1 point for the average value expression and 1 for the final answer.
D. For t is greater than 30, L of t, the linear approximation to A at t equals 30, is a better model for the amount of grass clippings remaining in the bin. Use L of t to predict the time at which there will be 0.5 pounds of grass clippings remaining in the bin. Show the work that leads to your answer. So first, we know that the purpose is to find the tangent line at t equals 30. And once we have that, we are going to find the time where there are 0.5 pounds in the bin, because the linear representation of the graph would be the tangent line at that point. So we're going to plug the equation into our calculator and find, using calc, where A of 30 is. Was we need to solve of where A of 30 is. So we have a point of reference for our equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which is point slope form. So we know that L of t needs to equal 0.5, and since we have the base equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and we know that y equals L of t equals 0.5, so we can plug that in. We know that y1 is the point we solved for earlier, 0.783. M is what we solved for, which is the derivative at t equals 30. The x is the variable we are trying to solve for, and x of 1 is 30 in that point, 30, 0.783. So we're going to plug all those points to solve for our equation. So at this point, we have our equation, and we're going to manipulate and solve for the x variable, which is t, the days at which there are 0.5 pounds of grass clippings in the bin. Now, as we can see here, the answer is 35.054 days, rounded to 3 decimal places. You get 2 points for having an equation, including a prime of 30, which is the derivative or the slope of the linear line, and knowing that 30, a of 30 is a point on the line, including L of t is equal to y. Now you get 1 point for writing L of t equals 5, or as we showed it, L of t, or plugging 0.5 into L of t in the equation, and then you get a point for a correct answer rounded to 3 decimal places.